Thank you so much for inviting me to be here. I'm really honored to be part of this group, and especially to be able to share with you what I've found for the past 11 years about helping people not just exist, but live with quality in their lives. And I think there is a difference. This gentleman has been he's in a nursing facility. This picture haunts me because he was like that for the last 6 months of his life. He's been cleaned, he's been fed, he's been groomed. He can no longer participate in traditional house activities. He gets room visits every once in a while, but basically, this is his day. Is he living or is he existing? A wonderful assisted living community. Again, well-groomed, they've just had breakfast. The television set is on. Are they living or they're existing? Well, I think that we know, in spite of the fact that there are over 5 million Americans with Alzheimer's disease, do you know that they're saying one is diagnosed every 67 seconds? Every 67 seconds. And what they say is now the majority of residents in skilled nursing facilities and in assisted living communities have some type of dementia, right? And I think the fastest growing segment of long-term care is memory care in assisted living. It's what we do, isn't it? And I am so tired of all the gloom and doom, whether it's a movie, Still Alice, whether it's Glenn Campbell's song, whether it's articles, it's all gloom and doom. But we know how to help people live, not just exist, throughout the disease process, literally until they take their last breath. Right? Okay, but look at her face. She died the next week. Her meaningful activity was getting something to drink. Okay, so how did this all start? In 1978, I became a social worker in a nursing home in Ithaca, New York. And I was a real social worker. Now, granted, this was before the MDS. I actually had an opportunity to counsel residents. Sometimes I'd come in the morning and they'd be waiting for me to talk about their feelings. I ran support groups. It was really exciting. But gradually, the population changed. And here I was faced with residents who were depressed. They were diagnosed with apathy, failure to thrive. And I'm a social worker, but I couldn't do social work because of their memory deficits. So I began to observe them, and when they were in an activity program, they were laughing and having a great time. They weren't depressed, they weren't falling asleep. And so I thought, that's what I need to be doing. So I spent most of my time with activity professionals. But in those days, and unfortunately still happens, you have a program, and then you have nothing. And then you have another program, and then you have nothing. And when nothing happens is when everything happens, right? That's when they fall. They may go shopping. I used to have a purse looking just like that. Must be mine. Anyone have shoppers? Right. Okay. That's when they fall asleep. And then they're awake at 2 o'clock in the morning, so let's give you a sleeping pill. No one is asked what you did all day. So I was very fortunate to be a consultant in a small nursing home in Bennington, Vermont. And this home was a veterans home. And I just took time for change to just look and see what in the world was happening with the veterans. And is there a way that I could help them really live, not just exist, like David, just existing? And I thought, as soon as they get up in the morning, most people feel like they want to be useful. They want to have something to do. And I realized that people with dementia often never get asked to do anything. And no one ever says to them, thank you. And so the program I started, I call the club, because I thought it was kind of fun to say, hey, your friends are waiting for you in the club, rather than, would you like to go to an activity now? So this is a good example. Here's David, and he eats very independently, but until an activity started, he's just sitting there. And so one morning, I went over to David, and I had a bunch of cards, and I said, David, you know, we're going to play cards later, and I think the kids got into them. Do you think you'd mind helping me sort them? Thank you so much. Always giving them an activity that they enjoy, always giving one that they are successful for, and changed his life. Changed his life. All of a sudden, he was smiling. And like Anna was saying, we have many of the Montessori programs that go through the day. The program is 7 days a week, because I think you need quality of life 7 days a week, not wait till Monday, nothing's going on this weekend. And of course, we exercised, and we had something to drink, and we did crafts, and we did gardening. And what the concept was, continuous programming until it was time for you to go to bed. And we had some really very, very nice results. We were able to reduce falls. In one nursing home, it went from 17 falls to 7 to 5, like that. Like that. We were able to reduce the use of antipsychotics and hypnotics. And it was very, very successful. And I went on my merry way, and actually I thought I was going to retire then because I was old. That was 11 years ago. I think I got younger, actually. And I got called by the administrator, who said, please, will you come back, Joyce, because no matter how good the club is, we have residents that can't participate anymore. And the families want something special for their loved one, like the club. What kind of meaningful activities can you develop for people with advanced dementia? And I wish I knew that what you were, the introduction was beautiful. I just happened to be reading something, and it said, Namaste, to honor the spirit within. And I thought, bingo. That's the name of the program, because every single aspect of their life and what we do with them needs to honor them in a special way. So the first thing I remembered was how working with designers on bathrooms that looked like bathrooms seemed to lower the agitation during taking a bath. And that the dining room needed to look like a dining room in the country kitchens. And we were eliminating those overhead paging because their atmosphere really impacted on their life. And so Namaste needed to be in a calm, peaceful environment. So I use the scent of lavender, soft music. If I have a flat screen TV, then I have kind of a nature video going on. The space I use, sometimes I'm fortunate and I have a room that I can actually secure after the program, but many times I work in communities where I have to, it's a dual purpose situation. So they have lunch there and breakfast there, we move them out into the corridor, we have the housekeeping department come in, clean the floor, and we stage it. Maybe we'll put tablecloth on. I went in one day and Rose had lavender, she had lilacs in a bowl. So it's not about the room, it's not about the space. You can make a space out of almost anything. So you've created that nice warm feeling. And in the morning, we have our nursing assistants get their residents, and by the way, we don't usually have money to hire any extra staff. So I take as many people in the room as are in one nursing assistant's assignment. So while the club is run by activity professionals, Namaste is usually run by a nursing assistant. And it doesn't work unless you work as a team, because I've got 4 of my residents in the room, and I've got 1 of yours, and I've got 1 of yours, and I've got 1 of yours. So you need to be watching my residents that aren't in the program while I'm watching your residents that are in the program. So the CNAs get their residents up, they get them changed, they get them dressed, and they bring them into the Namaste room. And then one person becomes the Namaste carer. and to honor the spirit within begins when they come into the room. So Dr. Smith is going to get a handshake, and Auntie over here is going to get a big hug, and you're going to be told how handsome you are and how you just make my day coming in the room. And now, if you're in a wheelchair, wheelchairs are the wrong chairs for people with advanced dementia because they're like this. So if you're not in a reclining chair, I'm going to put you in some type of reclining chair. And then I take a nice fuzzy blanket and I tuck you in. Do you know, just like you snuggled your children, but it seems to make them feel very, very secure. And the next thing I'm going to do is give you as much to drink as you'll drink. Your name is on the cup, and it's right down beside you. Excuse me. I'm also going to assess you for pain and discomfort, because quality of life is certainly not possible if you're not comfortable. And now the next person comes in, and I greet you and tuck you in, assess you for pain and discomfort, give you as much to drink as you'll drink. And back over here, and you come in to see how things are going, and drink, 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 drink. I'm not a nurse, and I had no idea how important hydration was. We call it continuous hydration. We've been able to double, if not triple, the amount of liquid that our residents are taking, and I have reports from directors of nurses and wellness directors that they have no urinary tract infections. Now that's pretty good, right? Yeah, that's just amazing. And if that's all we did, that would be enough. But it isn't all we did. So how the day begins is meaningful activities. It doesn't involve bingo or word games for this particular population. But everything that was done in the morning was done so fast. And now, without gloves, skin to skin, unless there's an infection control problem, I'm going to just wash your face. And I'm going to tell you what beautiful skin you have and how happy I am that you're with me. And then I'm going to moisturize it with Pond's cold cream because scent from the past, right? And so it's a little bit of reminiscence. And I have to tell you a joke on myself. I don't think of myself as a sexist, but truly, I never thought of doing a guy's face. And what do? One day I turn around, and here's this CNA doing this man's face, and he is loving it. So now we put a little bit of Old Spice. And they like that. So we're going to do that. And then maybe I'm just going to comb your hair. And I don't know if there's anything that I do that is more pleasurable to a resident, whether they have hair or not, is to just fuss. Just fussing with the hair. And again, that may be something that they remember their mothers doing. This particular resident, according to her daughter-in-law that saw this picture at a presentation I was giving, and the daughter-in-law burst into tears, and I'm thinking, what did I do? And I went over and apologized later. And she said, oh, those weren't tears of sorrow. I haven't seen her smile like that for months. Could I have the picture? I said, of course. So we do that, and we might massage their hands and their arms. So what we're doing is also improving skin integrity, but everything we do is love. The power of loving touch. I actually did this with a woman who didn't have dementia, and she just seemed to be sad that day. And I brought her into Namaste, and I just loved her. I just loved her. And all of a sudden, I looked at her face, and the tears were running down. And she said to me, do you know how long it's been since anyone has touched me like this? Whoa. Now, right before lunch, we want to wake people up. I'm sorry, this is one of the things that we do in the morning is we bring realistic dogs, realistic cats, and this was a realistic baby. And here was a resident that probably fell through the cracks. She was smiled a little bit. She went to some activities. She ate okay, but not really well. And she walked into the Namaste room and she saw this realistic doll and she went, "Oh, at last I found you. I've been looking for you my whole life." And she began to open her blouse and nurse her baby. And they think that she was of the generation that if you had an illegitimate child, it was taken from you at birth and you never saw it again. They told her she was such a wonderful mother and her life changed, and now she just spends her time just smiling and very, very happy. We've had a couple of miracles. Here's Charlie, bang, bang, bang against the door, and here he is. We did everything right, nothing worked. 15 minutes into Namaste. And here's a nurse. She was the charge nurse in a cardiac unit, caught in such a bad place. Oh, no, oh, no, go, no. All day long, nothing worked. And there she is. I call them small miracles. Not small, certainly for the staff, not small miracles for the families. Very, very grateful. But it happens, and I'm not sure why. As you can see, one of the doctors I was presenting, and he said, "It's not rocket science." And I said, "I'm not a rocket scientist. It's just about love. 7 days a week, 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the afternoon. Results of every study we've done: decrease the use of any antipsychotic medication, any hypnotics, no falls, staff satisfaction high, family satisfaction high in every single study that we've done. It's not about money. It doesn't cost anything. All it's about is having the heart for it. Just having the heart for it. My husband gave me this a couple years ago, and it's become my motto, and hopefully yours too. Do not go where the path may lead. Go instead where there is no path, and leave a trail. I ask you, when you go back to your communities this week, would you please take a look and see how many residents you have that may be just existing and not living? And see if there are ways that you can find to help them live. And it's so easy. It's just incredible what a difference you all make now. But just think, a small nursing home in Bennington, Vermont, with the administrator that said, "Okay, Joyce, go for it," with a director of nurses that was, I'm sure, over her head with work that said, "I'll support you," with nursing assistants that said, "Oh, please, help us do something so we'll feel so much better about what we do with our residents with advanced dementia." And who knew it led to a book? And it is now so popular that it's beer. Thank you.